Jocelyn Rubeck. I am president of CBT's Student Advisory Council here at NEIU. It is my honor to welcome each and every one of you to our annual International Business Conference. Your presence here today is truly appreciated, and I would like to express my gratitude for taking time to join us in this exchange of ideas and insights. Being part of the team that organized this conference has been an incredible experience. Witnessing the collaborative efforts and dedication of everyone involved has been nothing short of amazing. The impact of this event on our students is immeasurable, providing them with valuable perspectives and knowledge that extend beyond the classroom. I extend a heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speakers for sharing their expertise with us, and a special appreciation to Tracy Payne, our keynote speaker. Now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Michael Bedell, Dean of the College of Business and Technology, who will share a few short words with us. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to see you're here skipping classes. Sorry. I'm delighted to be here this morning with y'all. As mentioned, I'm Mike Bedell. I'm Dean of the College of Business and Technology. And I'm really proud of this conference because this is the 23rd year that we've done a student-run, student-organized, student everything business conference. And it's taken various themes over the years as it's evolved. And every year there's new ideas for the next one. I'm looking forward to today and on into the future. You know, the whole student run, student organized, et cetera. I mean, what better way to take your business and tech education and apply it? You know, this is a great way to practice. There's a ton of logistics involved. There's a ton of where you must be social. In other words, reaching out to speakers and figuring out how do I, what do I do to convince that person to come in and talk? That's something that, oftentimes we hear our students aren't prepared to do, but, here's one more opportunity where they can practice. And so I just love this conference for that value that it adds to our students each year. I guess the other thing I need to do is take a moment and introduce a good friend, our interim president, Dr. Katrina Bell-Jordan. Her bio is in the program, so I'm not going to read it to you. But suffice it to say, she's been at NEIU for a long time. She loves NEIU like we all do. And she's been a great supporter and a great partner, whether department chair, dean, I guess associate dean, dean, and now interim president. She's been a great supporter of the college, and we thank her for that. So without taking too much more time, I will simply introduce my good friend, Dr. Katrina Bell-Jordan, and ask her to come up and give the opening remarks.
Good morning, everyone. How are you today? And thank you to my colleague, Dean Bedell. It is truly a pleasure to be here this morning and to welcome you to Northeastern for those of you who are here and are joining us online. I can't believe it's the 23rd conference over the last 27 years that I've been here. Then for the majority of the time that I've been here, we've had this opportunity for our business students to show their leadership and show their preparedness for the industries that they will be taking. And so being here today in the role of interim president, it is truly a pleasure to welcome our faculty, our staff, and our students and other guests who will be joining us over the course of the day. As Dean Bedell described, this is a really special conference, and each year the College of Business and Technology does gather industry professionals and experts in the field of international business to participate with our students. And this program is indeed tailored for our students and by our students to increase their understandings of the global business landscape and to assure their preparation for success in this ever-changing and expansive dynamic context. Now, since the launch of the International Business Conference at NEIU in 2002, it has become a key symposium. We are proud that it is one of the university's signature programs. The conference brings together, as you'll see this year, a diverse group of speakers to engage in a diverse array of topics that help our students connect their academic study to their career goals and to equip them with the kinds of skills that we know they will need to thrive. You will need to thrive and grow in your professional lives. Organized by the College of Business and Technology Student Advisory Council, this conference is driven by the energy and enthusiasm of our student leaders, and it elevates the importance of their vision, your vision, for the kind of professional development and opportunities that we know and that you believe will encourage and inspire your growth as professionals. This is truly centered in particular in focusing on creating opportunity for active interaction among students at all levels and across a variety of different business fields to focus on, how they can learn from these industry experts, to provide insights and perspectives, and to share advice, for these folks to share advice that will be formative and supportive of our students' own educational and professional journey. And it's important to note that whether our students are majoring in business, economics, or any professional field, this is a key conference to help support and grow leadership across the spectrum. This year's theme, the 2024 International Business Conference, focuses on the decade that lies ahead and the business world and the global world that we will face on an international scale over the next 10 years. So when you take a look at the program that's online, you'll see that from this year's conference program, there's an excellent lineup of concurrent sessions. And with that, on behalf of the faculty, students, and staff of Northeastern, I would like to thank the leadership and energy behind all of this work and the lineup of talent that you're going to have access to today. First of all, I would like to thank College of Business and Technology Dean Michael Bedell, Dr. Tung Koo, our Assistant Professor of Accounting, Business Law, and Finance, as well as the faculty and staff of the College of Business and Technology for their stewardship of the college and ongoing commitment to advancing the professional development and success of your students, our students, Northeastern students. I'd also like to thank Jocelyn Rubeck, NEIU marketing student and president of the American Marketing Association and CBT Student Advisory Council. She's still back there working even while she's getting her appreciation here. As well as the volunteers. You all don't see the number of folks from across the university who quietly support the development of a program of outstanding speakers and panelists each year. And it's their contributions that make the conference a success as well. As a point of not just college privilege, but personal privilege, as a former mentor and friend of mine as well, I'd like to offer special recognition to the late Durwood Huffler, Distinguished Professor Emeritus of Marketing and Management in the College of Business and Technology, who helped create the annual International Business Conference and served as its advisor until 2017.
All right, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good to see everybody. Welcome to the 220 session of the International Business Conference. I am so delighted to have you all here, and I really want to appreciate the hard work, the time, and the effort and the energy that went into planning this. It is an excellent, excellent student-run and organized opportunity. I want to thank everyone who's been a part of the conference planning so far. Can you raise your hands? Okay, we've got Jocelyn in the back. Okay, very good. And so I just want to express how wonderful of a chance this is to come together and to talk about the different aspects of business on the international scale. So who am I? I'm Liesl Downey, and I'm Vice President for Institutional Advancement at Northeastern Illinois University. And I also have the privilege of serving as the executive director of the NEIU Foundation. And the amazing person that I am just about to introduce to you has served on that NEIU Foundation. This is the nonprofit that supports scholarship opportunities and builds outreach and connectivity with our stakeholders across the city and beyond. So this, of course, is my friend Jaime di Paulo. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, or IHCC, and he's been in that role since 2019. And he has significantly boosted support for Latino businesses. Under Jaime's leadership, IHCC collaborated with other chambers of commerce, resulting in 18,092 jobs created and $88.1 million in small business assistance in 2020. Let's think about how much impact that made. Jaime di Paulo led programs like the Aspen Institute Latinos in Society program and testified before the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Small Business. He prioritized transforming IHCC into a hub for Latino businesses, expanding training opportunities and fostering better business opportunities for minorities in Illinois. So his professional experience includes roles at the Little Village Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Oklahoma City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. He holds a bachelor's degree from UNAM in Mexico City. And as I said, once you're a member of the NEIU family, you are always a member of the NEIU family. Please help me give a warm welcome to Jaime di Paulo.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. But it's a privilege and an honor to be here at this international conference. Boy, I gotta. So first of all, I'm an immigrant from Guadalajara, Mexico, and it's a privilege to be in the United States and actually being a successful business as a driving the economy of the state of Illinois, because I don't know if you know that, but in the state of Illinois, with 20% Latinos, a Latino background. In the city of Chicago, we have about 30%, the population of Latinos. There's a little bit under 2 million Latinos in the city of Chicago. Makes us the 5th largest Mexican city in the world. Number 1 is Mexico City, then is my hometown, Guadalajara, then it's Monterrey, and then the city of Chicago. So we are a city. The global economy is true, and you can see it in our neighborhoods. You see it in this room. So don't make a mistake. We got to take advantage of that. This concept of inclusive economy is a real thing, and I'll explain what that means. But first of all, I'd like to introduce you to the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which is the organization I have the privilege of leading for the past 5.5 years. We are a nonprofit organization, 501c6, which is allow us to membership-driven organization. We also have a foundation side that allow us to get dollars so we can help support small businesses. Now, when I talk about small businesses, according to the federal government, small businesses means if you're an employer that have 500 employees or less. Now, how many of you guys, as minorities, have knowing that's a Walmart to Latinos, 500 employees. So 200 employees is a huge company. But if the chambers of commerce didn't exist, there wouldn't be any support for small businesses, because keep in mind, according to the federal government, the 500 employees or less is the threshold you consider a small business. You walk down Devon Street, Michigan, Little Village, Division Street, and all you see is mom and pop shops. So chambers of commerce just became your best friends. Really ones that get you the opportunities so you can access those grants, you can actually fund it, you can actually do certification and do everything you do possible to scale that business or stay in business, right? So what we do at the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and this is our annual report, just came out fresh off the press. You feel free to look at it at ihccbusiness.net. You're gonna really see the impact. So Adrian, if you can go to the first page about the actual impact, there, that one. So that's our impact of last year. So just look at that number here. Our work at the chamber of our employees and us, we help with $105 million in resources to small businesses in the state of Illinois. 80% of that went to the city of Chicago because that's what the majority of businesses are concentrated on, Latino businesses. We actually, we consulted over a little bit under 5,000 businesses. This is consultations about an hour or longer. I can see that one better. We had 117 training events, and we had a little bit over 6,000 consultation hours. So our impact is real, and what we do, everything we do is to scale small businesses. We just want to create an inclusive economy so we can all thrive together, right? Sadly, only 1% of small businesses have access to the inclusive economy. When you hear about trade missions, you hear about bilateral businesses here and there, they're not meant to they're not geared for small businesses. So our job as chambers of commerce, we're making sure small businesses are included in this inclusive economy. So for example, our chamber, we have a small business development center. How many of you guys heard about small business development centers? I think there's a small business development center here, and this is in the university, isn't it? Big center, okay. So Small Business Development Center is funded by the federal government to allow people with ideas to create a business. As they walk in there, and these professionals will help you build your business, will help you with the business plans, will help you actually set up a business at no cost to you. We are one of the few the small business development centers in the state of Illinois and chambers of commerce. So the team that works at the Small Business Development Center is in charge. So if you have an idea, you walk in with us and you walk out with a business, basically. And everything you need in between, we'll make sure it happens. We don't do the work for you, but we'll give you the advice and take you by the hand and give you the resources so you start your business with the right foot, right? Because a lot of times you start a business for many reasons, but you don't have the knowledge, or you don't have the education, or don't have the means to how to go talk to a bank. You figure that JP Morgan Chase is the only bank because your parents bank there, but there's banks is like a menu, right? So each bank has different goals. Each bank will treat you differently. So it's just a matter of knowing your right banker so you have access to that loan you need to start a business. For example, we start up businesses. We recommend, mid-sized banks, not the big banks, because they don't really going to assign a banker to you, but like the Wintrust of the world and those mid-sized banks, they will assign a business banker to your business to making sure they work with you so you have access, you grow your business and have access to capital. We also have what is called Apex Center, which used to be called the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. How many of you guys heard of that? Those are free resources you have here in town. This is a program, whose task is to making sure you get the right certification so you can do business with government. The US government is the largest consumer in the world. They just don't build bridges and roads. They buy paper towels, they buy sodas, they buy water, they buy just about anything you can think of, they buy. So there's no reason why a small entrepreneur, a small business should have access to those contracts, especially minority-owned contracts, MBE, minority-owned enterprise. Judging by you guys are sitting here in this room, you'll qualify for that. A minority is a Latino, African-American, Asian, veteran, and what's the other one? Women. So I'm sorry about that. Women. So if you want any one of those five, you qualify to get certified and do business with the US government. And the Apex Center will help you, guide you to the process of getting certification, because it's very complicated to get certified. You got to prove to the government in paper that you're a minority and you have the resources to stand as a minority. So if you know anybody that doesn't have this, you're missing an opportunity. There's no reason why a bakery on 26th Street should not be selling bread to these local schools. Imagine if that was to happen. Imagine a local bakery and whatever area you live was selling bread or goods to the school districts. You need these certifications to do that. But if that was to happen, you just created an employer that's going to create jobs. That's going to create opportunities. And when a small business grows, the community grows with you. It's a known fact that happens. because small businesses, especially in our business corridors, we hire within 2 miles where our business is at. So just imagine the trickle down effect. So, if you shop in your small district, you probably know the cashier. The cashier is probably your neighbor or the son of your friend or something like that, because we tend to do that. We also have an in-house Small Business Transportation Resource Center, the SPTRC program. It is a program funded by the United States Department of Transportation, and they give us money so we can help minority-owned companies access to contracts with the United States Department of Transportation. We oversee 7 states in the area. For example, there's a huge bridge in Michigan being built. It's going to connect the United States and Canada. I don't know if you've read about that huge bridge. Well, 50% of those companies that are working in the United States side are companies that we have worked with and we have helped develop so they can get the certification so they can access those contracts. So those guys that we've been helping with just became multimillionaires out of nothing. Right? So this is the kind of power the chambers have and these particular programs have to help you scale your business. The other program that we have is with Illinois Tollway. How many of you guys ever transit the Illinois Tollway, right? So every time you go through there, you have to pay a toll. But those highways get built by minority-owned companies. So our program, it teaches you the way to get paths so you can get access to those contracts. For example, and when have you heard the term primes and subs? You know what that means? Primes is the big company that has a big contract, and he has to hire 25% minority-owned companies, help him with those contracts by statute. But what we're trying to build, there's no reason why minority-owned companies should not be primes, right? I mean, are we any different than those other guys? We think the same thing. We all want to make money. So what we push the government to do is to unbundle those contracts. So for example, a contract comes out, let's expand the I-90 3 miles and includes landscaping, lighting, rails, paint, and all that. But all those things get bundled into one contract. So what we do in the chamber, we push the government to unbundle those contracts to give opportunities to minority-owned companies being primes. So what we have done in the Illinois Tollway, we have help with their leadership and our help and the lobbyists and all that. We've been able to unbundle those contracts, and now we have, for example, the landscaping contract. The Illinois Tollway is no longer with the main contract. It's a contract held by 6 Latino companies from Little Village. We just changed their lives. Now they're primes. They're scaling. They got over 300 employees. And just became millionaires again. So this is the kind of stuff that we do at the chamber. And the other program is the Cook County. So Cook County gives us money so we can do technical assistance, one-on-one technical assistance to small businesses. We don't know it all, but we can guide you through the process. Owning a business is a difficult thing. Just to pay the taxes, all these laws, they pay time off and all these crazy things our decision makers are doing. We need to make sure you fall in between so you can follow the rules. So that's what we have professional advisors that go out to the business corridors and talk to businesses on one-on-one. We'll help you with finances. We'll help you with, if you have problems marketing your business, we have an advisor that helps you market your business. We even we go to the extent that we help you build a website, for example, at no cost to you. We get paid, but it's not a charge to the small business. And the city of Chicago just hired us to develop this EDGE program. It's called the Encouraging Diversity, Growth, and Equity Initiative. What we're doing there is teaching minority-owned companies, giving them the tools so they can access the city contracts. If you look at the city contracts, man, it's thousands and thousands of contracts. For example, cleaning supplies, right? Janitor services, anything you can think of, the city hires for. And there's no reason why minority-owned companies should have access to that. So they saw that and they gave us money so we can do that. We have the Procurement Academy. You guys know what procurement means? How many of you guys know what word procurement means? but you're not alone. I learned that word 5.5 years ago. I had no idea. Procurement means access to contract equality, even the playing field. That's what it is, right? Basically. And right now, the procurement is being challenged by the U.S. government. There was a ruling, I don't know if you know, that with the Supreme Court and the colleges. Remember that ruling that they're not going to give you more grants and stuff for minority-owned companies. So that's being challenged in the procurement sector. So it's changing a lot. So we launched a procurement academy in Lake County over there in Waukegan because there's a naval base there and there's a lot of contracts there again. So we're teaching companies how to access those contracts. We also have a Latino Business Policy Institute. We got to make sure our elected officials, we keep them accountable, for example, right? There's a lot of laws that they do that affect us a lot. So we keep track of everything they do. And we create a scorecard that we know exactly who's our friend and who's not our friend, right? Or who we got to work with to making sure they pass laws is going to benefit our business community as a whole. So that's the Latino Business Policy Institute. So using technology, using AI, and this is how AI can be a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a very good thing. So now we learn how to match. A small business. I don't know if I said this, but across the United States, a minority-owned enterprise is less than 20 employees. So when the federal government tells you 500 employees or less, you're a small business, but the reality in our neighborhoods is we are under 20 employees, and in some neighborhoods we might be 2 employees or less, right? So when you see a contract, you don't have the knowledge, or you don't have the tools, or you don't have the resources to even begin to search for those contracts, right? Because it takes a lot to do the searching. So using artificial intelligence and many other stuff, we are now able to match contracts with capability statements. A capability statement is basically who you are as a company in one page, right? So we match those, and the system will give you the contracts you qualify for on the spot, corporate or government contracts. So we were a finalist in the Third World Chambers of Commerce, which is the world's largest economy forum for chambers and businesses. The World Chambers Competition is a global award that recognizes the most innovative projects undertaken by chambers of commerce in the industry. So we created, thanks to the person on the back there, Adrian, it's called Corama, Contract Rate Maximizer. This is an innovative solution that it's going to revolutionize how state and local businesses bid for underrepresented communities. Our cutting-edge collaboration AI platform streamlines the bidding process and maximizes the chance of success for small businesses, minority-owned businesses, and women-owned businesses. This thing is going to revolutionize how small businesses have access to contracts. The only way, how many of you guys have heard of generational wealth? And it comes out of every politician's mouth. We got to create generational wealth. Well, how do you do that? You guys, the only way you create generational wealth is through entrepreneurship and by saving, right? So this particular program is going to address that, and not just in Chicago, but worldwide. And we are testing it right now. We have a couple of computer engineers in the office, just typing away, and we should be coming on live in about 6 months. And this thing is just going to blow everybody away, because this is how do you leverage good technology to benefit everybody. The competitive exchange program in Panama. I was just invited to Panama with the Organization of the American States, the Department of State, Department of Commerce, U.S. Economy Development Administration, and the International Trade Administration, so we could understand how Panama works, how we can leverage our companies, have access to the beautiful things that happen in Panama. So I don't know if you know, but everything you see here, everything you see here, everything you're wearing was in a truck one day. You know that? Think about that. Everything you see in this room or you're wearing, one day it was in a truck to get to you. So that's why we're talking here, inclusive economy. In a nutshell, now that we understand this scalability of thinking global, acting local, we now have to comprehend what is an inclusive economy. This means that they work at the international level as they work in the neighborhood businesses. So when I think I told you before, only 1% of our small businesses have access to inclusive economy, which is the sad part. Only the big corporations have that access, like the Walmarts, the Targets, the big companies, like the major multi-million-dollar companies have access to those inclusive economy. So what we're trying to do is really create an inclusive economy that allows small businesses, like, if you have a small business or any small businesses, to do the trade they need to become an inclusive economy. There's no reason why a small business should be selling to Amazon, right? The pandemic opened the doors for small businesses to actually sell their goods worldwide. They no longer can sell, for example, a Milagro tortillas. How many of you guys heard of Milagro? They probably got them in every grocery store in the state and beyond. Well, those guys are selling tortillas on Amazon, and they're selling tortillas in Mexico because they're using the technology, they're leveraging the inclusive technology so they can grow their business and have access, and people can have access to. I mean, it costs a little more, but they get you tortillas. An inclusive economy is where opportunities are not confined to the privileged few, but are accessible to all members of society. It is a place where every individual, regardless of background, gender, race, or socioeconomic status, has a fair chance to thrive and succeed. That's what I'm talking about. If you sell something, you should sell it online. You should sell it to somebody else. In an inclusive economy, diversity is not just tolerated, it is celebrated and embraced. Different perspectives, experiences, and talents are recognized as valuable assets to enrich our collective endeavors. It is a place where everyone feels valued, respected, empowered, and contribute to their fullest potential. Education lies in the heart of an inclusive economy. It is the great equalizer, leveraging the playing field and opening doors of opportunities for all. An inclusive economy prioritizes access to quality education for every childhood and adulthood, ensuring that no one is left behind due to the lack of knowledge and skills. An inclusive economy fosters entrepreneurship and innovation. It provides aspiring entrepreneurs, especially those from underrepresented communities, with the support, resources, and mentorship they need to succeed with the ideas. It is a vibrant ecosystem where credibility flourishes and new businesses emerge, and the economy grows is fueled in the ground up. Just imagine a car with no engine, right? So you need an inclusive economy to build that car, so everything works together, but we got to make sure we become more than that 1%. Okay, it's a reality. Our politicians will argue, hey, immigrants just they send their money to the United States. They suck in every dollar goes out abroad. But 70% of that money comes back to the United States because they shop at the Walmarts in Mexico, at the Walmarts in Ecuador, at the Walmarts in El Salvador. They buy a McDonald's in Mexico, they buy a McDonald's in Europe. So that money comes right back to the United States. So don't ever let anybody tell you that money doesn't come back. It comes back somehow, some way, right? An inclusive economy fosters entrepreneurship and innovation. It provides aspiring entrepreneurs, especially those from underrepresented communities, with the support, resources, and mentorship they need to turn their ideas into reality. It's vibrant ecosystem where credibility flourishes, new businesses emerge, and economy grows and fuels from the ground up. It's a core. An inclusive economy is to build principles of fairness and equality. It tries to bridge the gap between haves and have-nots, addressing systematic inequalities and injustices that persist into our society. It's about creating pathways for upward mobility, ensuring that the hard work and determination have rewarded the tangible opportunity for advancement. And the number one trait partner for the Illinois and the world is Mexico. I don't know if you know that. And the amount of jobs that go back and forth is incredible. I was just in Monterrey last weekend. Monterrey is a border town, it's about 2 hours south of the border from Laredo, right? In the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we're looking at ways how we can partner with the trucking system, with the logistics, how we can support our trucking companies coming here, because there's a lot of goods coming through that border that come right straight to Illinois. So we working on a deal with the Mexican government so that we can have an office at Nuevo Laredo, which is the border town between Laredo, Texas, and Laredo, Tamaulipas, which is the border town in Mexico, because we want to alleviate that tracking just to go through, because we've seen, goods are taking a long time to get here, and a lot of the reason why is they get stuck in the bottleneck there on the border. So one of the things we're going to do is open up an office so we can have the assistants and the personnel so it can help alleviate the trucking so it can move flowingly better, because in Illinois, for example, it's the number one consumer of beer is Illinois, and it comes from Mexico, right? Truck parts, they come from Mexico. Corn is the number one. Corn is the number one consumer in Mexico and comes from Illinois. The number one seller of corn to Mexico is Illinois. Now Iowa is Illinois, so think about those things. To share a circular economy, imports from Latin America are over a total U.S. circular economy imports increased from 12% to 18% in 2022. U.S. trade in Latin America and the Caribbean remained stable around $567 billion in 2023, similar to 2022 figures. Latin America and the Caribbean represent about 22% of the U.S. trade in goods and half of 2023 in trades, totaling a total of $567 billion. U.S. trade with the region is primarily dominated by Mexico, accounting 70% of the trade. So $567 billion trade going to Latin America, 70% of that is trade in Mexico. In Illinois, it's a place fifth among 50 states, number one in the Midwest in total exports, over 78 billion in international shipments. In 2022, products from Illinois were sent to 215 countries. Top countries for Illinois exports were Canada, Mexico, Australia, Germany, China, Brazil, Japan, Netherlands, and so on. 90% of Illinois exporters are small and medium-sized businesses that account to 25% of the state exports. So I don't know if you know this, but the state of Illinois has a trade office in Mexico City, for example. There's actually a staff person that gets paid by the state to deal with trade in Mexico City. The Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce uses those resources so we can access those chambers of commerce there, so we can make sure people get fair wages and everything else, judging by the Treaty of Mexico, Canada, and Mexico, US, and Canada. Direct exports account for nearly 10% of the gross state product GSP. Illinois has realized significant benefits from United States, Mexico, and Canada agreement. That's the USMCA. It used to be called NAFTA. I don't know if you heard that, but there's a new term called USMCA. Mexico and Canada are Illinois' two largest trading partners, importing approximately 45% of Illinois total exports. Illinois exports totaled more than $35 billion to the UMCA county partners in 2022. These are some significant accomplishments that inclusive economy has reached. Small businesses need to harness the benefits of international trade and competitive globally. So everything we do at the chamber is making sure we empower that small business. Keep in mind that 20 employees or less. We're like, sand on the beach. We like nothing compared to the United States government when they tell you a small business is 500 employees or less. Just keep that in mind when you shop in one of your stores. We're not 500 employees or less. We are 20 employees or less, if even though, we have larger companies, at the chamber, we have many big Latino companies. They do a lot of, multinational, multi-worldwide business. Those are the fortunate enough, they have scale up more than 20 employees, but more likely than 20 employees or less are businesses in the state of Illinois and across the nation, in all groups, all minorities. Which is another fact that when a business of color goes asks for a loan and compared to an Anglo co-part, the minority-owned company or the business person has 60% less chances to get in that loan than a regular white male. That's a reality. And that's something the chamber is working on to making sure that doesn't happen, but it happens a lot. When you're a minority, they seem to ask you for more documentation. They want more stuff, and it happens to us. For example, we are a $10 million organization. Because we have a lot of government contracts. Governments, they're good buyers, but they don't like to pay on time. So sometimes it takes 30, 60, 90 days so they can pay. So how a small company can grow when you have to wait 90 days for payment? How are you going to support that company, right? So you need the banks to back you up. You need credit lines. You need credit lines, and you need bonding, insurance, all these things. So the chamber, we have all these programs that I've just talked about. They do government contracting, so we depend on a lot of credit lines. So as a Chamber of Commerce, we've been around more than 30 years. We have reputation. We know just about everybody. We have a hard time getting loans. So I just imagine somebody who's just opened up a business, right? It's very difficult. So you got to make sure you involve yourself with the Chamber of Commerce. Is going to help you leverage those relationships. Especially lately, credit unions are becoming players lending money. So credit unions are the best friends. And I don't get paid by the credit unions, but they're pretty good. We're observing significant fluctuations, challenges, and triumphs. Global goods trade has seen a decline, echoing a persistent downturn of previous years. The United States, after the hopefully recovered 2021, witnessed a 3.9% decline in trade in goods initiated in 2023. This, coupled with the complexities of the trade relationships with China and Latin America, underscores the need of strategic navigation and collaborative efforts. Since the Trump administration and the Biden administration, they have been blocking China to do trade here in the United States a little bit. They have, they have a double or triple the fees so you can do business in the United States. And Mexico, for example, is taking an opportunity. It's called nearshoring. Every company in China is moving to Mexico because they're seeing a huge opportunity so they can do trade to the United States. There's a lot of stuff happening in China. China, it's not the biggest buyers in the United States, but it's a number of 3 or 4, but it's really affecting the economies in Central and South America. So, for example, solar, right? Solar, every time you open up a newspaper, there's something about solar power. Well, the only machine that does solar panels is Chinese in the world. So how it cut the Chinese to do business in the United States, and then for one side, and then the other side, they tell you about how wonderful solar is, but the lack of panels because they can't, Chinese company are veering away from doing business in China and the United States because of those, those fees that they implemented in the trade. So China is going to south of the border to creating those panels. That's the kind of stuff, So we got an inclusive global economy, inclusive economies, for example. How many of you guys seen guys collecting old refrigerators in your alleys, right? Probably everybody. You put out a refrigerator and in a half hour it's gone. Those guys go around and sell it to metal scrappers around, somewhere around here. And then that metal scrap gets shredded and then it gets sold back to Mexico. Mexico, on the other hand, builds vehicles and they get shipped to the United States. So that's a circular economy. That's what we're talking about here. You need to create a circular economy. Not everything goes one way. When I talk to Mexican officials, for example, and I do that a lot, They all seem to think the trade between the United States and Mexico is companies from Mexico doing business in the United States, right? Selling goods here. But they never think that we do goods here too. There's no reason why we should not be selling services. There's no reason why we should be having access to those contracts they have over there. For example, building that new airport, they just built that famous train and everything else. I know companies that have applied for those, but never got them. So circular economy is the key to this, you know. Just like I said before, everything here was in a truck someday, right? Someday what you're wearing was in a ship or in a truck getting over here. Overall, global goods trade decline in the first 3 months, 2023, continued downturn to 2022. The United States had 3.9 decline in trade in goods in the 6 months, in the first 6 months in 2021. So just, you know, I can, you know, this is about another 20 pages, but I'll stop there, but because I can bore you to death. But at the end of the day, it's about circular economy. Chambers of Commerce, you know, we are one of the most robust chambers of commerce in the country. We have a little bit on $10 million budget. We have about 30 employees, which is really huge for chambers of commerce. Usually chambers of commerce have like 3 or 4 employees because we really believe in global economy, inclusive economy. That's the reason why we're growing. And so we are one of the biggest chambers of commerce in the United States, not just Latino, Hispanic, every chamber of commerce, you know. So with that, I'll open up for questions. Is there any questions, comments? I mean, what's the SPSC? Is this small business in the acronym? Yes. It's called the Small Business Development Center. Oh, there's also a Small Business International Development Center. So we work with a lot of local chambers in the neighborhoods. For example, we give them resources so they can support your businesses. So, you know, that's what we do. We train. I mean, it's not easy to run a business. I mean, you know, half the businesses we work with, especially first generation immigrants, you know, they have no idea what a business plan is. And that's key to the forecasting your businesses. That's the number one question you're going to get asked when you ask for a loan. Show me your business plans. Show me the long, medium, and long-term goals here. You know, that's how you got to show it. And that's how we come in and help you. Not write it, but we'll give you ideas and take you, making sure you do a good business plan so you can have that access to capital that you need. Because every business that I know has problems accessing capital. And so it starts with the business plan, you know. One thing that I teach my immigrants that start businesses is to learn how to utilize other people's money. That's the success of the United States. In the United States, the reason they have learned and mastered how to use loans, right? That's when I say other people's money is actually loans. What immigrants usually do, and you know, and they shouldn't do that, is risk it all. They open up a business, they mortgage their house. You know, they put in the savings for that business. And you know, more than likely that business is not going to make it. 70% of the businesses that open up in the United States fail. So utilizing loans, utilizing the right termination, it could be an incorporated, limited liability company. It just depends how your business is constituted. You don't risk your own patrimony, right? So if the business goes, you don't jeopardize your house, your kids' college, and all that. So that's the kind of stuff immigrants and everybody comes into the United States need to learn. Just master the art of asking for a loan, because it's very difficult for an immigrant. I mean, we left those countries for that reason, right? Because we don't trust the system. That's the main thing. We leave our countries where we come from. So learning how to trust the United States system is very difficult sometimes. And that's what chambers do. We teach you how to do that. Any other question? I mean,
It sounds like what you're saying is that small businesses
no, they are available, but the majority of immigrants that come, they leave their countries, it's because of lack of trust, per se, right? And for example, in Mexico, there's a lot of loans, but they get you like 25, 30, 40% interest. So in the United States, the SBA, right now it's probably at 6%, you know. It's just learning how to access those loans is the key. Because if you open up a business, you mortgage your house for that business. For example, a restaurant has very small chances of making it. Once you pass that second year, you're gonna be good, but going through those 2 years could be tough. And a lot of 90%, 70% of people that open up restaurants in the United States close down within 2 years. So what I'm saying is if you mortgage your house to get to open up the restaurant, what happens if you close down? There goes your house, right? So there's tools and there's protections that can help you not lose everything in the business. That's fine, but don't your personal stuff doesn't go, basically. There's a question on the back.
Hear me? Hello, hello. Okay. You've shared a lot of practical info on how the IHCC supports small business developments. What would you say are the top 1 or 2 things that, in your perspective, leads to success in small businesses, especially for minority entrepreneurs?
Learning how to play the system is one thing. It's very difficult to overcome the system. This actually, we're getting some crazy, excuse my French, laws here that really affect businesses. So having relationships with the local politician there is key. And then knowing the local chamber of commerce is the other key thing. And access to knowing the right banker. Like I said before, Bank of America it's a good bank, but it cannot be suited for you. So you got to shop around and making sure whoever you're going to bank with as a business owner, you got to make sure they assign a business banker to you. And that banker his job or her job is to making sure your business grows. So that's the key. And the bigger banks do not, unless you're a multi-million-dollar company, will assign a business banker to you. But the mid-sized banks, like, Wintrust and I don't know what, Bank of the West, BMO, those guys are like mid-sized banks. They will actually assign a banker to you when you open up an account. Question? No? Well, thank you so much. So please ask. So you can access our, on the internet, ihccbusiness.net. You can read our report, which is pretty impactful. Our work is real and is really impacting businesses. So thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.